The man of the house finished to clean and cook everything for Shabbat. Now it's time to call Mommy to light the candles. Mommy!
I'm coming! Now we light the candles for Shabbat. Okay, Geffen? Let's go. Shabbat Shalom. Thank God, Baruch Hashem, finally we got to Shabbat. Shabbat, day of peace, day that we can rest, day that we can connect to Hashem. But this is my first time that I'm here in this world for Shabbat, so I will have a few questions for you. And every time we'll have a question, just make sure write it down and give me and send me the answer, so I'll be able to know more about Shabbat. So I heard that you're not allowed to cook on Shabbat. That's the halakha that I heard. That's the first halakha that I learned. You're not allowed to cook. And my question is, where do you know it from? What is the source? First question is, what is the source that we're not allowed to cook on Shabbat? Got it? So I want to introduce you my kitchen. A lovely kitchen. So I have the crock pot for Shabbat, and I have the blech or the plata for Shabbat, and I also have the water tanker for Shabbat. Everything is set for Shabbat, and this is my kitchen. Here is the freezer, and here I have the stove itself. And before we will continue I want to show you exactly what I made for Shabbat. I want to ask you, I have this fork, and wherever I come from, we just like to cook a fork for Shabbat, on Shabbat. So I just want to take the fork and I want to put it on Shabbat. Now it's Shabbat, and I want to put it on the fire. Obviously, I'm not planning to eat this fork. So my second question is, am I allowed to take this metal piece, fork, knife, whatever it will be, and just put it on the fire? I'm not planning to eat it, don't worry. So I know that Rabbi Naim already taught you. So that's my second question. Am I allowed to take the fork and put it on the fire on Shabbat? Whatever the answer is, yes or no, explain also why. Obviously, I'm not planning to give you a fork as food. So I want to show you that I also made some food inside of this pot. Very, very delicious food. It's a secret recipe, so don't look. The problem is that I cook it before Shabbat, and I have no idea when does it considered that it's already cooked. When exactly? Meaning I'm just putting it on the fire, and now it's being cooked. And my third question is, from what point the food is considered, don't worry, it's already cooked and you can warm it on Shabbat. Now whatever happened is that I took the pot, and before Shabbat I put it on the plata, on the blech, on the side of the plata, so it won't interrupt me. Now it's Shabbat already, and I just want to move the pot to the center of the plata. I just want it to be in the center. I'm not touching anything besides moving it a little bit to the center. My question is, my fourth question, am I allowed to take this pot with the food inside and move it to the center of the plata? If there is a condition whether I allowed to or not allowed to, write it down. When and how am I allowed to move the pot from the side of the plata to the center?
Mommy, what's inside? I want to eat.
Or you want to eat? So I made you a delicious chulent. And do you want to see what's inside?
Yeah.
So I will, I don't know if I'm allowed to. I want to take the cover of this crock pot to make sure to check what is going on with the chulent inside. My fifth question is, am I allowed on Shabbat to lift this cover and to check what is going on inside the cholent and then to recover it? My fifth question is, am I allowed to do it on Shabbat? Whether the answer will be yes or no, you need to explain also why. Roni, can you please bring me from the freezer the food so I will be able to warm it? Thank you very much. Oh, excellent. So I have here pita and schnitzels. Those schnitzels are already cooked. Don't worry, it's well done, cooked. Everything is perfect. Only it wasn't on the freezer. And those pita as is. My sixth question is, am I allowed to take pita from the freeze and just put it on the plata so it will warm? Again, sixth question is, taking a bread, challah, pita from the freeze or just as is and put it on the plata on Shabbat. My seventh question will be, now I want to take this frozen schnitzel, it's already cooked, well done, and I just want to put it on the plata to warm it. My seventh question is, am I allowed to do it? Both 6 and 7 questions, whatever your answer is, explain also why. So after we worked so hard, we're thirsty and we want to drink, but I like to drink hot water. So I took water from the tap and I just want to put it on the plata to warm it. As you know, water we can drink as is. We can drink hot water, we can drink cold water, we can drink regular water. We don't need to cook the water in order to eat it or to drink it. So my 8th question is, am I allowed to take just water from the top and put it on the plata in order to warm it? That's the 8th question. Whatever you say yes or no, don't forget to add also why. So you taught me that I need to boil my water before Shabbat. I need to cook the water and make sure that it's already cooked before Shabbat. So my question is, like we had the same thing with the food. From what point do I know that the water are now considered as a cooked water? I will give you a hint. Maybe Rashid can help you to check it. So my 9th question is, water, liquid. How do I know from what level it's considered as cooked? If you don't know the answer, ask Rashid. So in order to have hot water on Shabbat, I just bought myself a water tank, so I'll be able to use it. Now there will be a series of questions. You need to answer them very shortly. Halachically, how does the halacha call this object, this water tank? How does the halacha call it? Now I'm about to do an action and write down what is the action that I'm doing. From this object, I'm pouring to this cup. How do we call the act of pouring from this object to the cup? Now, the next question will be, how do we call now this cup? Halachically, how do we call this cup? Don't answer Anna and Elsa. This is not the answer. So now I'm taking this cup and I'm pouring into this cup. How do we call this act? Pouring from this cup to this cup. And now the last question for now, it will be, once we pour to this cup, how do we call this cup now halachically? So when it's cold outside, and even if it's not cold outside, I just like to drink tea on Shabbat. Of course, I'm talking about Sadav and Nabat. So I want to make myself a tea on Shabbat, Shabbat morning, Shabbat evening. I'm taking this tea bag and I have no idea how to make it. Am I allowed to put it straight here in this object, or maybe I need first to pour, and maybe I can put this tea bag here, or I don't know, maybe I need to pour to this cup and then put the tea bag. So please let me know. My 11th question is, how do I make tea on Shabbat? What cup may I use in order to make tea? And also don't forget to answer, why am I allowed to do it in this way? So there are some people that instead of drinking tea, sadav, they just want to drink coffee. So my 12th question will be, same as the 11th, I want to make coffee on Shabbat. How do I do it exactly? Am I allowed to straight put the coffee here? Or do I need to put a coffee here and then maybe to pour from it? Or like we said, maybe with the tea, I don't know, maybe I need to use this cup or this cup. That's the order. So my 12th question is, how do I make a coffee on Shabbat? It's a sunny day. It's very, very, very hot outside. And I have here an egg. I don't know, it's not cooked yet. And I don't know, I want to hold the egg in front of the sun. Just want to hold the egg in front of the sun, that the sun will heat the egg, and by that it will be cooked. But the problem is that I'm doing it on Shabbat. My question is, my 14th question is, am I allowed to take it and to cook with the sun all kind of other objects? Whatever you will tell me yes or no, don't forget to also insert the why. So my last question, my 15th question, will be a bonus question. Try to think about it by yourself. Try to figure out the answer. The question is very simple. Here I have a microwave. I want to use this microwave in order to cook on Shabbat. Let's say that there is no problem with electricity, no other problems. We are talking only about cooking. As you can see, there is no fire inside. Microwave doesn't work with fire. My question is, am I allowed to do it on Shabbat? Am I allowed to take food, put it in the microwave, turn it on, and cook the food that is inside without fire? And let's say that there is no problem with electricity. Try to answer only regarding cooking on Shabbat. Whatever your answer is, don't forget to also explain it. And Shabbat Shalom. So Shabbat is a gift that Hashem gave us, and we need to keep it.
Shabbat Shalom. Hey!